Welcome to the Foxborough High School Gymnasium, where we have a Hockomock League girls volleyball game between the Foxborough Lady Warriors and the KP Warriors. Action is already underway. This is Mark Stopa. I'm here with Bethany Fuller.
Hi.
We'll bring you the action this afternoon or this evening. The game as it currently stands is Foxborough 5 and KP 1, and this is the first game in what may be a 5-game match. And KP has the serve right now. The Foxborough Warriors are 2-4 on the season thus far, and KP, with their brand new volleyball program, is 0-4 coming into this, but very competitive. So far this season, Foxborough has been living and dying on their serve percentage. And speaking with Coach Damish before the game, they've been averaging 66-67% on their serve, and that's clearly not going to get it done.
Right.
I think the matches that they won, they were serving in the 85-90% area, which is...
That's where you need to be.
Well, yeah, 95 is kind of the target. And you can see that they're competitive with everyone, but they're more competitive, and they have a tendency to look like they're going to win when they're getting their serves in.
Right.
Sam Briggs and Brittany Stopa have been doing very well getting their kills at the net. They each average 3 or 4 a game. Obviously, that's going to have to come up too, but they're just kind of getting the rhythm.
Yeah, and that's what Coach said actually in Foxborough Reporter in an interview, that they have a few off days, and it's much better when they're not having the off days.
Oh, no question. Well, you can see a huge difference over last year, where the program was a matter of, let's see if we can bump the ball back to the other side. Maybe they'll miss. And this year, it's very calculated. They're setting plays for individual players. The players understand where they need to be and what they're supposed to do. It's a lot more fun.
Yep.
There's Brittany Stopa with an almost kill. Sam Briggs will have her chance here. She dinks it back over, and that worked.
Yep.
Bringing the score to 7-3. Foxborough in the lead. Foxborough with the serve. We have Michelle Cameron serving. On the floor, we have Danielle Tazy, Brittany Stopa, and Samantha Briggs on the front line. Michelle Cameron is the setter, but currently serving. Jenna Weiskerger and Jessica Whitney are also on the floor. Pretty good setup for them with those kids on the floor. They should do well here. That brings the score 9-3 Foxborough. Serving's been pretty good so far tonight. Oh, nice block. Nice block. Good elevation. Knock that back. That's a lot of fun to watch that. Also helps that that's my daughter.
Oh, there you go. That's what you need, though. Those blocks up front, they really help.
Absolutely. Take the spunk right out of the other team. And here we go, the replay of that last block. 2 hands up. Good elevation. Excellent.
Right down.
So we have a timeout on the floor, which seems to happen when one of the teams gets on a run.
Right.
The team that's being run upon calls timeout to try to stop that.
Slow it down a little bit.
I've also noticed that it seems to be ritual that when one of the teams gets to 23, the other team calls timeout.
Okay.
It just seems to be the way
it works.
Yep, every game so far. So we'll see how this is going well so far.
Yeah.
Michelle Cameron still on the serve. And here we go. Okay, KP unable to get that one back. They seem to be out of rhythm on that from the original bump. Yeah. Now 11-3 Foxborough. Wanting to keep this run going as long as they can. And that's out. Another point for Foxborough. So Bethany, you are our resident volleyball expert here.
Yep, I actually played in Foxborough for 2 years and then went on to play in college for a few years.
Excellent. Where'd you play in college?
The College of Mount St. Vincent.
Excellent.
Yeah, I loved it. I wasn't the best on the court, but I loved the sport. And
well, I never played except for kind of recreationally, but
right.
I now have 2 daughters that are playing, one on JV, one on varsity, and I've had to learn. So over the last couple of years, I've been learning and paying attention, and I've enjoyed it, and my daughters are absolutely loving it.
Right.
It's a great new sport for them. KP now with the serve at the score at 12-4. That goes into the net. That's my understanding, that learning how to serve, the mechanical aspects of the serve is pretty tough to pick up.
It is. That's what I struggled with, I think, the most. And then it kind of all spirals down if you don't get that initial serve in.
Oh, no question.
Unfortunately.
And I know you really get competitive when you have somebody that can just ace it.
Yep.
Having a couple of tall kids at the neck that can get the kills and somebody who can get on the run with aces is awesome. Here we have a long volley going. Good block at the net again. Good save. Almost. When the games get like that, it's a lot of fun to watch. A little disappointing not to get the point, but a lot of fun to watch that. Looked to me like they might have been able to get a set off of that before going for the kill. Oh, a little close to the net. Yeah. So KP going on a little run of their own here. Amazing. Good things happen when you get your serves in. Here we've got a good set. All right, referee signaling that looked like number 11 caught the net there, and when you touch the net, point to the other side. That brings the score 14-6 for Foxborough. We have a substitution in. Sam Briggs goes to the bench, and Kristen Fusco comes on the floor. That serve attempt by Brittany Stopo is long, a little too juiced up, and she subs out. And we have Hannah Pierce, number 8, who comes in to play back line. Yeah, that's always a killer when you get up there and your first serve just goes out. Good bump back over. That came down real close to the net. KP couldn't figure out what to do with it. So point Foxborough, now at 15-7. Nice bump by Hannah Pierce there. That's the right terminology, right?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, another serve out. We can't be having that. That kills your percentage and kills the momentum. So that was Danielle Tacey with that missed serve there. And she goes out, and Amanda Martin comes in, play back line. KP serves one back in the net. Thank you very much for the give back. And we're at 16-8. And Kristen Fusco goes out, and Sam Briggs comes back to their front line, rotating out so you can get your big players at the line. Good spike there from KP. I don't know where that came from. Found the hole with the bump.
Yep, caught him off guard a little bit there.
Number 4 on KP, and I apologize, I don't have a roster for them. She in warm-ups, another missed serve by Foxborough. She can elevate and spike at the net. I was impressed with how high she could get. She plays on a AAU team with my oldest daughter. Fortunately, we're getting the give-backs on the serves, and that's saving us here, because otherwise this would be a much more interesting game. 18-9 Foxborough. Jenna Weiskircher with the serve now. Jenna's usually very consistent with her serves. Hopefully I'm not jinxing her, but we could use a few in. That's a good serve.
There you go.
Okay, well, this is the first game of potentially a 5-game match. Teams play best 3 out of 5. The first 4 games go to 25, and if they go to a 5th game, then it's 15 points. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And that last call, it looked like they called a carry. I believe that I believe the player from KP, instead of hitting it,
the ball. Right.
she seemed to hold the ball. Right. A fairly fine line between holding and carrying it and just hitting it.
Yeah.
And as I predicted, Jenna Weiskerger's on a run here. It's now 21-9. She's getting her serves in, and KP is not able to handle them. She's rifling them over. It looks like KP is calling a timeout.
Try and get a little momentum back in their favor.
And points are scored whether or not you have serve. I've seen some matches.
Correct. They keep them score different. Some
internationally, I think you only score on serve or something like that. But in high school,
I believe it's called rally pointing.
Okay.
Where you get each way you get the point, whether you're serving or not. Kind of speeds up the game a little bit.
Yeah, because you imagine if you could only score on your serve, we'd be here for a while.
Right. Yeah.
And when the other team is serving and you want them to not be, you're looking for a side out.
Right.
So you want to get the ball back and get the serve back. Because in theory, if you've got control of the serve, you can control the pace and position of the ball.
Yep.
And that's quite frankly, well, the reason I wanted to mention that is that's where Foxborough is getting to be now, which is really fun to watch.
Yep.
Because they're dictating where the ball is going to be on the floor. They've got a ways to go, but it's so much. It's very impressive.
Yep.
Coach of the Foxborough Warriors is Dan Damish, and the coach of the KP Warriors is Cynthia Souza. Again, the KP program is fairly new, but Dan Damish has had this program now for 2 or 3 years and is doing a wonderful job.
He was actually coaching volleyball when I was in school, too.
Oh, really?
Yep.
I knew he was here. He was gone and then came back. Another kill there by Brittany Stopa on the far side. Always happy to see that. We're at 22-9.
Yeah, Foxborough ran away with this one.
And Caroline Mortada is in. I didn't see who subbed out. I apologize. Jenna Weiskerger with the serve. Looks to be long, but she got saved on that.
Looks like it might have been going out there.
Yeah. Close call. No, 23-9.
Yeah, and those ones, too, you usually want to play them because they land on that line, then the point goes right to the other team.
Oh, yeah, you want to make sure you have at least a chance to do something with it. Jenna rifles another serve across. Nice dig on the other side. Good spike for the kill by KP there. I think they caught our backline player off guard. So serve goes over to KP. 23-10 is our score here in this first game. Got started a little bit early today because the JV team lost in 2 games. They played best 2 out of 3. Jenna Weiskerger with the bump over. See what we can do with the line here. KP tried to set that, and it looked like there wasn't enough communication there. They didn't know. They couldn't figure out who was going to go get it.
That's one thing about volleyball. You need that communication constantly.
Yeah. I always see the coaches encouraging them to talk.
Yep.
Because if you're looking up at the ball, you can't see where your teammates are, so somebody's got to call for it.
Yep.
Good serve by Michelle Cameron there. KP's left to bump it over. Sam Briggs tries for the kill. Took a good swing at it, just caught the top tape of the net and came bounding back.
Almost saved it there, too.
Yeah. 24-11 is our score. Errant bump that goes over to the scoring table, 24-12. Foxborough needs 1 point to take this first game. There's KP's serve. That was a good serve.
Yeah. Oh, coming right over that.
Had to save our monitor. Okay, 24-13. KP on a little mini run here. Good serve. I think that would have gone out.
Yep.
What is it they coach when you're on the back line? If the ball's above your shoulders when you're standing there, let it go?
How it is. Yep. Yep. That's hard, too. You got to make sure you know where you are in terms of that back line.
Yeah, because if you're a little too far forward, that doesn't mean enough. Yeah. It's a tough call, but
Yeah.
You know, you play long enough, you figure it out.
Exactly.
The server for KP is rifling that ball across.
Strong serve.
Yeah. I think it caught the Foxborough girls off guard a little bit because they weren't seeing that earlier.
Right.
Let's see what she's got now.
Go.
Oh, that one a little high on the arm for Jenna Weiskircher. They're very difficult to control. You know, for the casual observer watching from the stands or from home on television, it looks like why didn't they react more quickly to that ball? But they're not seeing it within the same perspective that we are from the side.
Exactly. It's not as easy to tell exactly where it's going.
Right. Because it's coming at you, and it's really hard to determine pace and so forth.
That's one of the big things, too, in volleyball. You don't want to be caught flat-footed. That's a big no-no. You got to always be on your toes and ready to
move.
Ready to move, yep.
Ooh, serve that just crawls over the net. And talk about crawling. KP is crawling their way back into this game. 24-18. What looked to be a very easy win is now a short run away from being a challenge. So Foxborough calls a timeout. Coach Damish holding his hands up and saying, okay, girls, what are we doing here?
Exactly.
How could we let this happen?
Got to get back in it.
Yeah, and then at this point, it's just going to take one return.
Right.
Then they'll be comfortable with that rifle kind of serve, and they'll be okay. But we do need that one.
Yep.
And at this point, I'd rather see us win the point as opposed to have the other team serve the ball out. Let's let's handle what they're giving us so that we can move on and win the next couple of games as well. So we have Jess Whitney subbing back into the game. She'll take up a backline position, hopefully to stem the tide on these good serves. Well, I didn't get what I wanted. KP serves it into the net. That's the 25th point. Foxborough wins the first game 25-18. I've noticed that in the volleyball, there are all these rituals that happen.
Yeah.
You know, teams have to rotate around the net a certain way, and each team comes up with some special little cheer for when there's an ace.
Yep.
And perhaps for some other things that happen during the course of the game. And it's the girls offer each other so much encouragement. They can't help it but have fun while they're out there. I love seeing that.
Volleyball definitely, it's a team sport.
Yeah.
You have to all be in it, or it's not going to go well. And that's why the communication comes in.
Right.
So important.
Well, you know, there are other team sports, but take basketball, for instance. You need the teamwork, but an individual can have an impact and take over a game, and that can't happen here.
No.
They can't do it themselves.
Because you need the 3 hits on each side, and you need at least 2 different players to hit the ball. You can't hit the ball twice.
Right.
So right there alone is another reason that you need.
And you're never sure where the ball's going to be coming to you, so everybody has to be involved and everybody has to be ready, and that's one of the charming aspects of the game. It's one of the reasons I'm really enjoying watching it. So Foxborough wins the first game, looking to improve their schedule or their season, record this season. So what is it the coach says when they're having this timeout?
I don't know.
Well, when you were there, what kind of thing?
Just things that you notice over the game that aren't working, that are working, what we did well, what you need to, improve. Just pretty much what you would do in any
sport.
Sport. I mean, there's certain things you practice that are never going to work once you get onto the court for a game, and you kind of have to work around that, and you have to be able to adjust and figure out what the other team's doing that's hurting you, and the other team's doing that's helping you, and you need to be able to work with that.
In our case, I'm sure there's some reminders that we need to get our serve percentage up.
Yep.
And some reminders on how to handle that kind of rifling serve that comes over from KP, because it looked like they had a couple girls that could serve it that way. And
at the end there, they were getting very strong serves.
And they had that other player, number 4. I believe that she serves much the same way. So, if they get on a run where those players
keep going,
can get 5, 6, 7, 8 points each, all of a sudden you can be in a hole.
Right.
And we don't want to have that.
No.
So in between our games here, I guess there's about a 3-minute break or
Probably,
two.
yeah, it's around 3
I think
minutes.
it's 3-minute break, and we're down to the last 30 seconds of the break between this game and the referees or officials. What are they called? Are they called referees or officials?
Officials. Yeah.
Okay. The officials will call them back on the floor, and Foxborough looks to be at the ready, and they'll call them back on the floor and get us started in game number 2. Kind of a funny sport. When it's going, there's really not a lot of time in between points, and then all of a sudden there's either a timeout or you're in between games, and then there's nothing.
Yep.
All right, let's see who we have on the floor here for Foxborough. We have Michelle Cameron, Rachel Dutra, Jess Whitney, Sam Briggs, Hannah Pierce, and Amanda Martin. The last 3 are on the back line currently, and the other 3 are on the front line. I think they're trying to figure out whose serve it is. Looks like it's probably KP's. Now, I'm sure the people watching are going to say, well, on the KP side, there's a young lady out there who's wearing a different color uniform. What's that about?
That's the person who comes in as a defensive specialist,
okay.
And they pretty much just play the back line. And there's certain substitution rules. I'm not exactly caught up on them, but that you can only substitute so many times, except for this player with a different shirt is exempt from those rules.
I've noticed in the game, what's that person? That person has a designation, a name of libero or something like that.
Yeah.
And I noticed they can come in and out of the game and substitute freely.
Right.
Anybody else substituting has to check in with the officials and be permitted into the game.
There's certain substitution numbers that you're only allowed for certain players.
I see. Yeah, it does seem that the same person comes in for the twosome, as it were.
Yep.
Usually one taller person with a shorter person to cover front line and back line.
And they usually designate who's doing what. And I believe there's only a certain number of people you can substitute in. Like, you know, those 2 can only substitute in. I could be wrong there, but.
All right, we've misjudged a few serves here. Thought they were going to be out, and they just snuck in. That goes back to your point earlier, where if you're not sure, play the ball.
Play it to be safe.
At least then you've got a chance. That one was clearly long, so you got the benefit of that.
And like they did there, you want to always follow it to the line, too, if you can, if you're in a position to.
That way you can take action if all of a sudden.
Exactly.
Every once in a while, particularly when the ball comes across as a knuckleball with no spin on it, it'll all of a sudden dive.
Yep.
And kind of like pitching in baseball. All right, we had a pretty good set there. Rachel Dutra took a swing at that, but didn't quite get elevated and hit it into the net. And the score is 4-1 KP. Inauspicious start to this game. Let's see if we can't right ourselves here. Okay, we got bailed out there with a bad serve by KP. They served themselves out of that, and Foxborough, Foxborough 2, KP 4. And Jenna Weiskerger's got the serve. And she's that player on our team that can go in and out. Again, I think it's libero is the word I've used, or I've heard used. So. Nice serve by Jenna. She's very consistent in her mechanics and the way the ball gets presented across the net. Not a good plan on that. We ended up having just bumping across. Well, that's too bad. Girl came up for a spike and actually kind of half missed it, and it faked us out, and it landed in a empty zone on our side of the floor. 5-2 KP.
And that's part of it too, whether you mean to or not. Sometimes you just get that empty hole.
Okay, ball's there. Ball being set for Brittany Stopa, up for the spike.
There we go.
Made a good effort at it. KP looks like they're going to recover it, though. Again, Foxborough sets. A little bit deeper with the spike. Found a hole. I was talking with some of the girls on the Foxborough team, and they seem to be very aware where the other team is positioned, and sometimes they'll give up the kill spike, the really hard spike, in order to place it somewhere on the floor. And that looked like what Brittany Stopa did there.
Yeah, because ideally you want that.
Nice block back.
Ideally you want the bump up, the set, and the hit. But sometimes you adjust it on purpose or an accident.
Oh,
Sometimes
sure,
you just
because
gotta-
if you get in a rhythm of that, then the other
Right.
team gets to know what to expect, and if you,
Exactly.
then you got to switch it up so you can catch them off guard, I guess. Good serve there by Michelle Cameron. Bump, set, and well, the official called on that spike by KP. Said that Foxborough touched the ball, but there was nobody there, so I don't think so. Well, that would be too many.
Yep.
So Foxborough point. We're now at 5-5, but you can see what I meant about this number 4.
Yeah.
She really elevated
Yeah.
and took a very nice swing at that ball. Michelle Cameron missed that serve. Most of the girls on the Foxborough team seem to have the mechanics set for the most part, but I think like with most sports, they're the focus, the mental aspect is not always there. Attempted kill by Brittany Stopa there from the middle of the Foxborough side. Goes a little long, so it's KP's point. Now it's KP's 7-5. We have that server from KP that just rifles the ball over.
There we go.
But we're bumping those better, so at least we're in the points. KP with the spike that goes long. Foxborough point. And Sam Briggs will get her chance at the serve line. On the floor is Sam Briggs, Jenna Weiskerger, Michelle Cameron, Jess Whitney, Danielle Tacey, and Brittany Stopa. Nice deep serve by Sam Briggs. She wasn't able, the KP player wasn't able to play it off the back line, and point Foxborough. There you go, Sam Briggs. Looks pretty focused. Nice deep serve. KP's not able to manage it. 3 hits, didn't get it across, but they were, because it was such a good serve, it got them out of a rhythm, and they were just kind of in a survivor mode. 8-7, Foxborough takes the lead. Oh, Sam looked like she caught that a little higher in her hand. You can hear that slap.
Yep.
A little short to the net. Serve back over to KP. Scores 8-8 in this game 2 and the best of 5 match. Ball gets bumped. Another bump to set it. And this nice kill. Pretty good dig by the KP player coming off the back line, but she couldn't quite control it. Okay, Rachel Dutra is in the game, and Jenna Weiskerger takes a seat. Brittany Stopa serving. Nice serve. Had that real dive with that knuckleball effect. KP was able to dink the ball back over and just catch the line. No, I take that back. It was just out, so it's Foxborough point, and we're up 10-8. Looked from here like it might have touched the line. Well, Brittany Stopa looked like she had a problem with her toss there, and
Yeah, one little error in a serve, and
yeah, if that ball's not in the right
downhill.
place, yeah,
it's
can,
tough.
can you toss it and decide not to hit it? And,
I don't know.
I know you only have 8 seconds
Yeah, I
to
don't
get your
think you
serve
can.
off.
I think once you send it in the air,
You got to hit it.
yeah.
Jess Whitney elevates nicely at the net there to get that ball. KP gets a good set, but not able to get a good opportunity, a good swing at that attempt to kill. So the Foxborough Warriors get the point, leading now 11-9. Danielle Tacey at the serve line. Hannah Pierce in the back line along with Sam Briggs. Jess Whitney, Michelle Cameron, Rachel Dutra on the front line.
There she goes.
Good eye-hand coordination. Takes a really good
Yeah.
swing at that. It's fun to watch. Unfortunately, it's
Yeah,
happening on the wrong side of the net. KP with the serve. That one's deep.
So
Point Foxborough, 12-10. Jess Whitney to the serve line. Hannah Pierce decided at the very last second not to take a bump at that ball, and it was a good decision.
Yep.
Driving spike by that KP player. Saved by Amanda Martin on the back line. Good block at the net by Sam Briggs. Point Foxborough. Looks like they've got themselves going forward now. 13-10 Foxborough. Good save.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, not able to get that back over. That was a real nice save off the net there. That seems to be a very difficult thing to do.
Because once it gets off that net, you need to know exactly where it's going to get to it.
And it looks like really the best thing to do is make sure you get yourself on the ground.
Yep.
Because reaching is never going to make it.
No.
Oh, that's too bad. That was a well-placed serve by KP. Here we got a bump, a set, and a kill. Nice job by Rachel Dutra. Good positioning there.
Just couldn't get there fast enough.
KP looked like they had the back line covered, but it was off of that player just enough to get the score. All right, Jenna Weisskircher is at the serve line. Brittany Stope is in. Hannah Pierce goes out. Good serve by Jenna. Yep. Well-constructed play by KP that time.
There's no one there to get it.
No, girl took a nice swing at it and found an open spot in the floor. 14-13 Foxborough. King Philip is hanging much tougher in this game from the get-go.
It's been a tight game since the start.
Yep. Okay, bump. Brittany Stope at a set. Up, a little close to the net. Sam Briggs couldn't handle the dink over. And it wasn't really set high enough for her to take a good swing at it. 14-14. King Philip with the serve.
A little too far.
Yep. No opportunity. Oh,
it looks like the player hit the net.
Yeah, I believe that's what they called. I think number 10 touched the net. Is it also a problem if they go under, their body goes under the net? Yes, I thought I saw that.
Because that line on the floor, there's a line underneath the net. Can't cross that.
I see. How about hands over the top of the net? You allowed to put your hands over to
there's
push
certain. It can't go on to the other side.
Okay.
I don't know how to explain it. You can move it over.
If you touch the ball your side of the net and continue over, then it's okay?
It's okay. I believe so, yeah.
Okay. That was my read from how I was watching the games being scored.
But you can't throw your hand over to the other side to get the ball on the other side.
Okay. But if it's kind of on top of the net, you can finish over.
You can go up for it.
You can go up and finish over the other side. Okay. That's the way I saw the scoring happen earlier this year. I suspected that. Here we are at 16-15. Well, that looked like a bit of a carry there. Hope we got the best of it anyhow. 17-15. Sam Briggs is serving. We have Jenna Weisskircher, Michelle Cameron is the setter. Jess Whitney, Danielle Tacey, and Brittany Stope on the front line. Good serve by Sam Briggs. KP managed it. Oh, a little deep.
Couldn't quite get the control on that one.
Yep. It's also interesting to see that if the ball goes up and impacts the flags and the girders in the ceiling, it's still in play. As long as that's not the one that's going across. If that's not the third play, then it's still in play. Provides a little excitement.
And I know in every gym, too, they have certain restrictions on what it can touch and what it can't. And that's usually stated at the beginning of the game.
Okay.
So that all players are aware.
We had one the other night that the ball kind of got out of control, and it actually made a basket in one of the side hoops. And even then, we still almost got it returned.
Oh, wow.
It was really something to watch. All right, KP has brought it back to even at 17 each. Foxborough with the bump, the set, and the spike. Nice job by Brittany Stopa there. On that one, she had both the bump and the spike. You were making mention of that earlier.
As long as you don't touch it twice in a row.
Right. So Jenna Weisskircher out, and Rachel Dutra to the front line. Brittany Stopa with the serve. Nice serve, good deep serve there. Difficult for KP to handle. 19-17. It'd be nice if we go on a little bit of a run here and just close it out right now.
Yep.
Oh, that was a good serve.
Yep.
That was a little different than the first one. It actually had some side spin on
Yep.
it. Not necessarily certain she intended to do that. But that's
Either way,
okay.
they weren't ready for it. So.
It's like a pitcher in baseball. You
Yep.
mix it up with the fastball,
Exactly.
the knuckleball, and the slider. Good serve. Tough to handle. KP's left just to bump it back over. Foxborough gets the good set. Jess Whitney takes a good swing at it. A little too far back to be swinging at it like that, though. Brittany Stopa goes to the bench. Hannah Pierce comes in to play back line. Scores 20-18 Foxborough. KP with the serve. Now this young lady serves it a little differently than other people. That's called a jump serve, right?
Correct. Yep.
I suspect that if the regular serve is hard to learn, the jump serve must be ridiculous.
Yes. Many people can't do the jump serve.
Yeah, you got to have a lot of things happening the right way for that to work.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And at the right time.
Yeah. Well, I suspect because she's got that skill, that's also one of the reasons she's able to get those kills from the middle of the court. (20-20).
Up here.
KP continues with the serve. See if they can now get themselves used to this jump serve. You know, it's probably more of a shock than anything else.
Exactly.
All right, well, she jump serves it into the middle of the net, and that's a little helpful to us. We get 21-20. Danielle Tacey to the serve line. Hannah Pierce and Sam Briggs on the back line. Michelle Cameron, Rachel Dutra, and Jess Whitney in the front. Yeah. KP set that ball a little too deep there, didn't they?
It's hard when you're in the back line to hit it and hit it right over that net.
I've been noticing that the ones that can't really elevate and get the kill like the one player in KP, you kind of have to get that top spin on that so that if it goes to the net, it'll crawl over.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. That's exactly what it is.
Point Foxborough, 23-20. Danielle Tacey continues with her serves. 2 more to get this one closed out. Good serve. KP again, though, a pretty deep set. Foxborough also in that position. A little confused there as to who was going to take that, but they got it across. Much better set that time by KP, but they couldn't put it away. So now Rachel Dutra with the set. Oh, the kill goes wide. 23-21. Danielle Tacey goes out, and Amanda Martin comes in and play back line. We have a officials timeout. I guess they were making sure everybody was in the proper rotation on the floor. Right? Here's a replay on that last point. Oh, that goes deep while we're looking for that replay. And it's 24-21. So it's game point Foxborough. Jess Whitney.
Right here.
Yep. Jess Whitney on the serve line. Good serve. Nice and deep. Oh, a very deep set by KP there. I'm sure that's not what they intended.
No.
And the attempted spike was no good. Went to the net. Foxborough wins game 2, 25-21. And then we go through our ritual, and the teams actually switch benches.
Yes.
The players that are on the floor have to come to the outside of the net. And I think we have a replay coming up here. That's Rachel Dutra.
Yeah.
She elevated nicely, just kind of had her body turned a little too much to the side, it looked like. But otherwise took a good swing at it. Always good to see. I guess you want to encourage the kids to just take good, hard swings, and then we'll figure out how to make it come in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's what you spend a lot of time in practice, too, doing is trying to figure out how to get it into that court.
Right. But get them used to taking a good swing at it, because those hard spikes, if you can do those, then those are pretty easy points. It's bump, set, kill.
Yep. That's what you want to do.
That's it. Bump, set, kill. Put the score on the clock, on the board, please.
It's not always as easy as it looks, though,
no, of course not. No, that's why I mentioned earlier about, you know, to the untrained eye or people sitting in the stands, you said, why did she take so long to react? And then you have to realize, well, the ball is coming at her at a different perspective. It's coming right at her, and she can't tell how hard it is.
Exactly.
And, you know, you got a split second to make that determination. Is it going to go long? Do I have to run? Do I have to dive? Is it coming slow, or is it really rifled over and I'm in a good position? So.
And then you also want to think too. Ideally, you want to hit it on your forearm.
Right.
So you've got to try and be in that position to get it there.
So it's everything about body position and how you direct it. Yeah. So optimally, it's forearm, above the wrist, below the elbow.
Exactly.
Yep.
And you can tell too on some of those where they go kind of, you know, they take the serve and it just goes anywhere. It's because they just didn't get under the ball quite well enough to handle it.
And my understanding is that you want to be in a position where you're going forward to the ball, and that gives you your best chance to control it.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate. We want 3 and out. We want to win 3 in a row. But we did. We lost the second one?
No, we won the second one.
So we won both games.
Yes, we did.
So he's wrong.
Foxborough won the first game.
These guys, they're filming the game. They don't know what's going on.
25-18, and second game 25-21.
That's very nice.
Yes, it is.
Yep.
So if Foxborough can win this third game, it's an early evening of it.
That's always hard too, like KP's situation when you're down the 2. It's how do you come back and you get that next. Yeah. I mean, it's the same in any sport.
Sure.
But in volleyball, it's a little different because you have that break and you have that time to think, okay, what am I going to do to win the next game? And if you don't win the next game, then you're out.
Well, much the same as playing tennis and losing the first set or two and trying to figure out a way to make it a long day for somebody. And, you know, it is so weird with volleyball. The momentum can switch on a dime.
Yep.
You know, it could be just getting that one server that's going to, instead of running off for 5 or 6 usual points, all of a sudden she runs 12.
Yep.
And now you've got a real different game.
Yep.
And anticipate, here we go with a replay. Look at the ball that played into the net. Michelle Cameron gets right down to the floor to save that. That was a marvelous dig to save that ball there.
Yeah. Unfortunately, they couldn't.
No, but too many times you don't have anybody that gets on that ball, so it's good. We're making progress. We're getting to that, and good to see.
And they probably practice that too right off the net. Those are always hard to get.
Well, yeah, I imagine it's the kind of thing that you really have to practice that exact situation, and the only way to do it is throw the ball into the net and go save it.
And that's exactly what they do, I'm sure.
All right, teams have taken the floor. The officials are double-checking to make sure everybody's in their proper position. My understanding is that the coaches have to give a piece of paper that says what number jersey is where and who's going to be substituting for who and so forth.
Yep.
So we have Rachel Dutra, Michelle Cameron, and Sam Briggs on the front line. Hannah Pierce, Amanda Martin, and Jess Whitney on the back. Jess Whitney is going to be first up to serve. Everybody seems to be in position where they belong, or close enough. And again, I apologize. I don't have the KP roster to be able to say who those young ladies are. Jess Whitney serves that under the net. That can't be good.
Nope.
So it's point to KP. And while they're chasing that ball down, a huge thanks to Foxborough Cable Access for broadcasting this game. This is the first time ever that a girls volleyball game has been broadcast at Foxborough High School, and their efforts are very much appreciated.
It is, especially because I played the sport. It's nice to give it some exposure.
Well, you know, the kids they've brought a level of enthusiasm that perhaps wasn't there. I know for the couple years before wasn't there.
Right.
And it has attracted some new players to the team.
Yep.
And they seem to be having a lot of fun as a team. And Coach Damish is the right kind of coach for a team that's coming along.
Yeah.
Because he's not afraid to ask for things.
Right.
He's not afraid to demand that you try harder. And sometimes that's what the girls need. All right. So checking in on this game here. KP is up 3-1. We've had a couple of errant serves. They've had an errant serve to give back a point to us. Jenna Weiskircher goes out to serve. Hannah Pierce goes out. Brittany Stopa comes in the prey front line with Sam Briggs and Michelle Cameron. And we have Amanda Martin and Jess Whitney on the floor as well. KP is trying to figure out their substitution schedule over there, and now we're ready to go. Just missed. I think that's the first one she's missed tonight.
Is it?
Yeah, she's served very well, very consistent. You can tell that toss was a little lower than the other ones, and that's what happens. All right, point over to KP, 4-1, and their serve.
Oh, nice
Good,
dig.
good dig. Unfortunately, didn't come in. So that was good reaction.
Yeah.
5-1 KP. We did the same thing last game. We let them get a little bit of a lead, and then we recovered. Much deeper serve that time. Gets bumped and set for Brittany Stopa, who hits it hard. Good block at the net by number 10 on KP. That ball goes out, so Foxborough gets the point. And we have Michelle Cameron to serve. Foxborough 2, KP 5 here in game 3. Oh, that ball a little short. And this is exactly the problem that we've had in all of our matches, is that at some point in the match, we just stop serving well. And when that happens, doesn't matter who you're playing, you just let them back in the match.
Yeah.
And I guess part of the development also is that Foxborough, because they're used to doing that, they'll up the intensity a little bit, and they'll still win some points to kind of balance them out and keep them in the game. But they're not going to, they can't come back all the way until they start serving the ball well. A little bit of chaos there. Too many people trying to get that kill, and got lucky.
Yeah, they did.
So much for the communication there. I suspect the coach is going to tell them, girls talk.
Yep. And you got to be careful on those two, because if you're all touching, if there's two people getting the ball, you can be called for the 4 hits.
Yep. That would seem to make sense. Sam Briggs serving, a little deep there. Ball over to serve over to KP. KP 7, Foxborough 4. Looks like KP's big servers have already rotated through, so a little bit of a break from that. A couple of bunts. That second bump should have been a set, and it was too deep, and they were certainly confused on what to do with that. Nice dig by Jenna Weiskircher there. Surprise play over the net by Michelle Cameron. Caught them off guard a little bit, and ultimately kept KP out of rhythm on that. So point Foxborough 5-8. Brittany Stopa back to serve.
See if they can pick it up a little bit here.
See if we can get on a run and get a few points. Good serve. Goes to that wide side. Those little red and white barbershop poles that come up off the net, I guess that means you can't be outside of those, right?
Right.
Okay, well, that last return by...
Parallel to the...
Okay. Yeah, the last volley by KP that was outside, that's why Foxborough point. Nice kill there to the wide side where we didn't have any coverage.
Didn't get there either.
Nope. Have to admire it when team's able to do that.
Yep.
So Brittany Stopa out after a few serves. Hannah Pierce in. And we have our jump serve specialist from KP going to have at it and see what she's got this time. A little wide. I guess when you have that much movement going on, you have to be very precise. On how you set things.
Absolutely.
We're going to get this one over. There we go. Good save there by Hannah Pierce. KP sets it. Nobody was up to take the swing at it on the kill, so Foxborough gets the point. It's now 8-9. Foxborough with 8. KP with 9. Danielle Tacey at the serve line. At the college level, does every team have somebody that can jump serve?
From what I saw, pretty much, yeah. A lot of
Nice kill there.
Yeah. A lot of girls I played with could do it, but didn't dare do it in a game.
I see.
Because they weren't quite up to that.
Well, that goes right back to what percentage of serves you're looking for. You want 95%.
Exactly.
You can't really take that risk.
Yep.
Or you better be very confident.
Exactly.
Okay, King Philip gives it back with an errant serve. King Philip 10, Foxborough 9. Jess Whitney with the serve. Very deep serve, right to the back line. And KP seems to have a tendency to want to set that ball pretty deep.
Deep, yeah.
Now, I don't know if it's because they're trying to play that jump spike, if you will, or on purpose or what, but it's not working out for them, fortunately. No. Nice serve. Set a little closer to the net that time, but they can only bump it over. Michelle Cameron tried to catch them off guard there with a little dink, but that didn't go over so well. Tried it again, but they were in position.
Ready. Oh.
Rachel Dutra took a pretty good swing at it there, and all the girl on KP could do was block it to the floor. She was, I guess, a little too far away from the net.
Yep.
So now Foxborough has crept their way into the lead in this game, 11-10. Kind of reminiscent of the last game where we gave them a little more.
Bit of a start.
Yeah, a little bit of a start. I guess that's being a gracious host.
Yeah, there you go.
We're going to go with that.
Okay.
So I don't know who called timeout here, but I suspect it's KP because they just gave up the lead. That would seem to be an appropriate time. And let's see. I think we have a replay coming up on that last point. Rachel Dutra
gets it right down there.
Yeah, she took a nice swing at it. She had good elevation.
Yep.
And the girl from KP trying to block it was a little too far away from the net. And it just dribbled straight down, which is good. No shortness of enthusiasm on these volleyball teams, I'll tell you. There are lots of cheers and lots of high fives. And
seems like a pretty positive attitude all around.
Yep, very encouraging. Here we go with the serve by Jess Whitney. Good serve, middle of the floor. KP sets it pretty.
Oh, wow.
I think that's too many.
Yeah, tough angle there trying to get that ball over on the third.
Well, it's a pretty good spike that came over the net there. I wasn't anticipating that because she was a little deep. But it had that top spin that we were talking about before, and it really dove down to the floor. And we got to it. We got the dig, but couldn't control it. There's KP with a serve. That was a hard serve. But went a little wide. Foxborough gets the point. Hannah Pierce goes out. Brittany Stopa's coming in. And Jenna Weiskircher gets the serve. Nice to see if we can maybe get 5 or 6 points here to get a little separation.
A little run, yeah.
Well, that was a nice bump, set, and kill for KP that time. They did it right. They found an open spot in the floor.
Right to the side, too.
Yeah. I noticed you tend to try to get those spikes to the far corner because it gives you a little more distance to get the ball down. You can hit it harder. That's a good dig. Not a lot of communication going on there. We ended up just bumping it back. KP girl took a good swing at it there, and Jess Whitney was able to bump it off the back line, but it went a little wide, and we couldn't control it. So KP goes back in the lead 13-12 here in this third game of the match. Good dig by Jess Whitney there. Nice set. Brittany Stopa for the swing at it and gets the kill. Good job. And for those who may not have been with us earlier, and we'll recount that volleyball is best out of 5 games in a match. Right. First 4 games go to 25 if they play a 5th game. And we have a replay of the kill. Nice kill by Brittany Stopa there. Another point for Foxborough there. If the game goes to or if the match goes to a 5th game, the 5th game is 15 points. And points are scored whether you're serving or not. So here we go, Michelle Cameron serving the ball over. Nice dig by the KP player. Again, a very deep set. They're having trouble handling those, so point Foxborough. 15-13 Foxborough.
Yeah, it's working in Foxborough's advantage that when it's that deep of a set, they can't quite get it over the net there.
Well, it's also a little comforting when you're on this side of the net because you know it's not going to be a straight down kill. That one's just out. KP player actually picked the one spot on the floor that was a good place to put that ball and only missed by probably a half a foot. Truly a game of inches sometimes. Michelle Cameron with a good serve to the middle. KP bumps and sets.
Nice block right
Sam Briggs gets elevated and blocks that ball back. Nice job. 17-13 Foxborough. Here's that little mini run that we were looking for to get some separation. Good serve there. We're back on our game. Looked like Brittany Stopper got surprised there because it was the second hit that brought that across and she wasn't ready. She took a swing at it as she was coming down. Nice block there on the replay by Sam Briggs. Wow, that was a hard serve to come up that short. Oh, wow.
I don't think she was expecting it that
hard. How could you possibly?
I know.
It looks like timeout Foxborough, 17-15. We don't want to give them a chance to run back to get the lead. Too late in the game for that. So Coach Damisch to give them some instruction and reassurance, I'm sure. KP's got to feel good about their effort here today. They've played well so far.
Yeah.
Hopefully Foxborough's able to close them out.
Yeah, both games have been very close.
Yeah.
Could have gone either way.
Obviously, at least from my perspective, Foxborough seems to be, as a team, has played better. They seem to be more control of the ball.
Right.
But sometimes you can't control where.
Yeah.
You can't control where the other team puts it, and that can put you in difficulty. And here's that serve. That was a hard serve that came down short. Boy, that was. I don't
think anyone expected that.
No. Had real. It just crept over the net. Had real good topspin and dove right down. I'm sure if you could do that every time, it would be interesting. But that's a little too close to the line, I think, for serving it into the net. So here we go again. It's one of their better servers. Hard serve deep. And all we can do is bump it back, but it keeps the point alive. Another deep set by KP there. We should say thank you to them for that. Here we go with a set at the line. Sam Briggs to take a swing. She was a little deep to take a hard hit at it. Not able to save that. Some of those wide, deep points are very difficult to get to.
Yep.
Because the way it gets set is you really only have two players on the back line there to cover that whole line. There's a replay on that last one that went wide.
Yeah, just couldn't get under it.
And there's KP serving long, serve out that point. So point Foxborough. And now it's 18-16. We have Brittany Stopa, Danielle Tacey, and Jess Whitney at the front line. Michelle Cameron is our setter. We have we had Sam Briggs serving there. KP gets called with the carry there. Jenna Weiskerger is the other player on the floor. I'm sorry, kind of trying to watch and talk at the same time. It wasn't working so well. Here we go, Sam Briggs serving again. That's deep if they let it go, and they did. So 19-17. Okay, KP with the serve. Good deep serve. Bumped by Jenna Weiskerger. Set for Brittany Stopa. Takes a nice swat at it.
1, 2, 3.
Yep, she took a little off of the intensity of that kill, but picked the right spot to put the ball. I guess we're going to see a replay of that last one. Nice set by Michelle Cameron. Measured well by Brittany Stopa, who finds the opening. Good serve by Brittany there for Foxborough. KP with the nice deep return there, or deep volley by KP, kind of caught Foxborough off guard. So Brittany's out, and Brittany Stopa's out, and Hannah Pierce is in, playing backline with Sam Briggs and Danielle Tacey. Michelle Cameron, Rachel Dutra, and Jess Whitney on the front line. A jump serve is back. But we've handled it much better after that last experience. Once you start
to get used to it, it's a little bit easier to know where it's going, how it's going.
Well, the jump, it would seem, is more of a distraction to the eye than anything else, because she's hitting it hard, but really no harder than some of the other girls. although we did not get that point. It's 2019 Foxborough. Nice serve there. Danielle Tacey was not able to handle that. And ace for KP. Scores 20-20. So Danielle Tacey out, Amanda Martin in. See if Foxborough can put a stop to this little mini run here. Jump serve. Amanda Martin, she didn't get quite her body move that way.
She had the right idea, though. It looked like that was going out.
Yeah.
Right idea to try and get there.
I suspect that's why she hesitated.
Yep.
Another jump serve. Good job.
Not too far, but...
Oh, it worked out well. Caught KP off guard. Fortunately, the official didn't see that it clipped the...
Might be under review.
Actually, he did catch it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It hit the...
I'm going to redo, it looks
Yeah.
like.
Well, they're supposed to call point for KP.
Yeah.
Yep, and that's what he's doing.
Yeah.
So that's what happened, is that ball, it just clipped the second banner in from our side of the court. Didn't really affect the flight of the ball at all.
No.
But
like I said,
those are house rules, though, right?
They make the marks, and what's out is out.
So they're correcting the score now. It looks like, I guess the scoreboard is corrected 21-21. This is all a little too close for comfort.
Yeah.
So they're conferring to make sure they have the right score, and then we're back to our jump server for KP, and we'll see if Foxborough can handle it and move this forward.
Oh, it's actually...
Oh, 20-21. Okay, they had to take the point away from us. So KP with the lead at 21-20. Now they're saying 22.
Oh.
Yeah, I wasn't really paying attention, so I can't really say.
Oh, you know what? I think they did get that extra.
Serve. Ooh. That was a gift there. That ball was long. I think with all their paying attention to scoring so forth, they weren't prepared to look at that because that was clearly out. At least by my eye. So 23-20, and then as I said before, 23 they call a timeout. Here's that serve. No, that was the point before.
Yeah, it did hit that banner.
Yeah, it did hit the banner. Not much, but just enough. I'm surprised he caught it.
Yeah. See, now what I wonder is if it hit the net and it came back on Foxborough's side, if they could have played that, the banner.
Yes, if it wasn't the third, and it wasn't the third, had it hit the banner and come down,
they probably would have been able to play that.
Yes, that's how they've been applying that rule in just about every gym that we've been in.
Yeah. Yeah, KP found whatever they needed to get right back in this game.
Yep. Well, part of it is, I think, is that their stronger servers had rotated to the serve line at the right time for them.
Exactly.
So let's see if they've got the goods to close out this game, where Foxborough can stop it. And another jump serve coming. Hannah Pierce handles that well. Looked like Michelle Cameron was intending just to fist that over the net and surprise them, and it didn't work. Good idea. 24-20, game point for KP. Nice serve. Gets bumped back across. Foxborough defensive mode. Nice set at the line for KP. And that ball is killed deep to the far corner. And Foxborough seems rather surprised that KP was able to take the game from them. And quite frankly, I'm surprised. But I really think the key to that for KP was that they had those strong servers.
Yep.
They rotated through just at the right time in that game. So take another look at that last point. That was a nice kill deep to the corner. They set it much closer to the line that time. Perhaps not perfectly,
but looks like too there. She just might not have known where she was in terms of that back line.
Yeah. Yeah, she was a little forward and certainly didn't have the back line covered.
Yep.
It's all right. And what was that score of that game? 25-20.
So now we're at 2-1 Foxborough.
2-1. Ups the pressure a little bit because you don't want this to go to a fifth game, because those 15-point games
go a lot quicker.
They go a lot quicker, and you know, you get on a run, and that game's over. Or it's the other team goes on a run, and that game's over quick. So Foxborough has to correct themselves here, and I'm sure they will. They can handle those serves, and they're not giving up aces like they were the first time they experienced it. So they just have to collect themselves. You know, it's personnel you have on the floor. You know, you get caught with the wrong people to handle the certain points, and it's, before you know it, you've lost 5 or 6 points.
And that is, too, why they have the defensive specialists come in.
Right.
Because that's what they're the best at, and they're there to help with that.
Sort of calm the nerves on the back line. Yeah.
Exactly.
So this match is going to go a little longer than we had anticipated. KP has done well for themselves. They've played tough in each game, and we made just enough mistakes there to allow them to win that, and they made just the right moves at the right time to put themselves in a position to win that last game.
Yep.
And here we go into game 4. Actually, I think Foxborough served fairly well in that game. I don't think we had those kinds of issues that time.
That they were having in the beginning.
Yeah, my recollection. Yeah, and that's why those first 2 games were closer, because we had periods of time where we didn't serve well, but we didn't have that there, so it was a little more fairly played.
Yep.
Teams were winning points as opposed to giving up points. Yeah. So that's nice to see. That's good competitive volleyball.
That is frustrating too, as a player trying to just missing on your serves, and that's bringing the team down. It gets frustrating.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Oh, sure. And they all care about what they're doing, and when something happens and they don't manage to get that serve in, I'm sure they really feel like they let their teammates down.
Yep.
Because the focus at that moment is on them, and particularly when you consider that the coach is really looking for 95% getting the ball over the net on serves. It's not something that can be missed often. If it was a 50-50 proposition, kind of like at the JV level,
be a little different.
You don't feel too bad about it, because you know the other team's going to probably do the same thing. So all's fair.
Yep.
All right, here we go. We have Michelle Cameron, Rachel Dutra, and looks like Jess Whitney on the front line. Sam Briggs, Hannah Pierce, and Amanda Martin on the back line to start this game. And the officials are making sure all the right numbers are all in the right places. So KP got set and then rotated their defensive specialist in right away. Here we go with the first serve. Gets handled. We need better communication there. Well, that ball landed in. A little fortunate there. We had a couple players that weren't communicating too well on this near side, but the ball landed in. I'll take the point. I'm sure they will as well. So 1-0 Foxborough. Jess Whitney back on the serve line. Good serve. Good dig. Not a good set. Very deep. We'll probably should have let that one go. That looked like it was clearly out, but we've managed to set it and bump it back.
There you go. They got it over.
No harm, no foul. Ball outside of the barbershop pole. Do those little things actually have a name, or were they just?
I don't know.
I have no clue. It's whatever they are, they're red and white poles. The ball's outside of it. It's out. So 2-0 Foxborough. Ball's out.
Right there, they followed the ball right to the line there.
Yep. Ball's out. Jess Whitney continues to serve. 3-0 Foxborough. This is the kind of start we were looking for. See if we got a little bit of a run here. Another good serve. This hard serve wide on the floor. Much better set that time. Good dig by Hannah Pierce there. Ball's right on the net. Oh, yes.
There we go.
That ball kind of floated. It looked at first like it was going to be on KP's side for a good swing at a kill, and it just floated over, and Michelle Cameron got good elevation and knocked it down for the kill. Let's take another look at that if we can while Jess Whitney serves. Yep, that just floated.
Right up for it.
Yep, good anticipation. Fairly long point there. That point lasted through the replay on that. And Foxborough comes up with the point when I think KP got intimidated with our presence at the net there, and the ball landed down. Okay. Well, that was actually a good start. Jess Whitney served us to a 5-1 lead, so that was good. I think Coach would like to see that go maybe a couple of points more. You know, you get to 7 or 8 points, and then you get a little space. That was good. Hannah Pierce with a good dig. Set by Michelle Cameron, and Rachel Dutra bumps it over. Good positioning on that. It wasn't really the kind of a set that she could make a kill swing on, but she managed to put that right in the opening on the floor. And let's take another look at that. Michelle Cameron with the set, and Rachel Dutra with a nice.
Realized she couldn't get a hit off it.
Right. Yeah, it was so
make sure
deep.
It gets over.
Right. Jenna Weiskerger serving. Better set, but low for KP. You know, you've got to be up in the air and saying, "Oh no," at that point, because you're winding up for the kill and it's not high enough. So point Foxborough 7-1. Jenna Weiskerger with the serve again. Nice deep serve on a hard serve on that far side. Couldn't be handled by a KP player. Let's set the players for Foxborough. We have Jenna Weiskerger serving. We have Jess Whitney and Amanda Martin on the back line. Brittany Stopa, Sam Briggs, and Michelle Cameron on the front line. Take another look at that spike into the net. Yeah, it was just the set just wasn't high enough for her. We got Jenna Weiskerger with serve. Nice hard serve that creeps over the net. Very difficult to handle. That ball was diving down.
Yep. Almost didn't make it over.
Yeah.
Close there.
And it fooled them because her serves usually go to the back line. And that one was just mixed up enough. Yeah, just short made this up player play it, and she wasn't ready. And there's a deep serve. Yeah, see, you get that deep serve, and that initial bump becomes a dig because it's really survival. And then the rhythm is off to get a good set, and they've got nowhere to go with it. Another good serve. I think we got ourselves an ace there. I haven't had too many of those today.
No.
You can tell because there's always that cheer.
Yeah. KP had some.
Yes.
But yeah, Foxborough hasn't been able to.
Yeah, let's take another look at that ace. Well placed. Hard serve.
Perfect.
Yep. Another good serve. Hard and short. Caught them off guard. Again, left them with a very deep set that they couldn't do anything with. This is that's very good. We're at 12-1 now.
Man, that's just the kind of lead you need.
Yeah, well, and this is exactly what we were anticipating Foxborough being able to do. So they gathered themselves. So it was good so far. Let's carry it through. And everything they're doing now is working well. They're catching KP. They're keeping them off balance and not making it easy to get the ball set. 13-1. Jenna Weiskerger continues with her serves. Another good deep serve. Not good communication by KP there. They left themselves only with a bump. Brittany Stopa with a bunt. Set. A little bit deep. In that very uncomfortable zone. A little too deep to make a good swing at it. And plus she caught it on the side of the hand. 13-2. KP. KP doing a substitution, but you really have to wait for them to tell you it's okay.
Stand at that line, the ref, they make sure they got you in the right place. And
all right, KP with the serve. Nice serve. Good and deep. That's a little tough to handle right in the net. Michelle Cameron, a nice dink there. KP's left to bump it over. Another one close to the net. Let's get a proper set here. Saved by Brittany.
Yeah, I was going to say, it looked like Foxborough might have touched that 4 times.
No, I think they called 10. I think that what happened is when that ball did come into the net, there was a player to block, and I think they called the block there. And then right after that, at the next touch, number 10 hit the net, and they called the net. They called that net touch. See if we can see it on the replay. Seemed to be a lot going on there.
Yeah.
Sam Briggs with the. I think you're right. I don't think they touched it, but they called it.
Yep.
Yeah, and then when Brittany Stopa was trying to get that little tap kill over the top, it looked like number 10 for KP hit the net.
And that's what he ended up catching.
And that, he caught that. Well, you know, on the block and the kill, there's so much going on,
Yep.
and all those hands are so close.
Exactly.
So Foxborough's continuing their run here. Oops, that bump went a little wild. She won't be happy about that. 15-3 is the score. KP's got the serve. Good hard serve there. Nice dig by Danielle Tacey. Some awkward shots there, but kept it alive, and that's all you have to do sometimes. Kind of reset. That's going to go out.
Yeah, and Foxborough got right back in it after that awkward play. They were right back and ready.
That's good to see, because sometimes you just
lose it.
You get whatever you can on the ball to keep it in play, and then kind of recover. Good serve by Sam Briggs there. Very deep set again for KP. They've got to bump it over. So we got a bump. Let's see if we can get a proper set here for Danielle Tacey. Takes a nice swing at it, but it's dug out by KP. Good placement there by KP. They found that hole on the far side. 16-4 is our score. Foxborough in the lead. We're going to replay on that previous rally where Michelle Cameron really just got one hand on it. Jess Whitney got a push to get it over the net, and that just got us right
that's where
back.
You just got to be always on your toes.
Yep, got us right back in the point.
Yep.
Okay, good bump there. We're in control. Nice swing at it by Jess Whitney. Goes deep, but it's saved. Very deep set. Bailed out by the net, and the ball crawled over. It's hard to take credit for those, but you just, you go, thank you. All right, 16-5. We got a timeout. Looked like it was Foxborough called that timeout, maybe to control themselves here. There's that last point. The ball comes. Nothing you can do about it. The ball comes over, just crawls over. Brittany Stopa had rotated back, which is what she's supposed to do there, because you anticipate the deeper shot.
Exactly.
And then she's not at the net to make the effort at it. So actually, I think that's a very good timeout there for Foxborough. Kind of catch their breath and say, okay, let's get ourselves a little more organized here. And it was excellent play, though, because sometimes it's just going to be helter-skelter. You just don't know where the ball's going to go. All right, let's reset the floor here. We have Brittany Stope on the far side, Michelle Cameron in the middle, Danielle Tacey to this side, Sam Briggs, Jenna Weisberger, and Jess Whitney on the back line. KP with the serve. 16-5 is our score. Foxborough's leading. This is game 4. That bump went too far. See if we get a block at the line. Intimidating structure there with the 2 or 3 people to block, and it really caused the KP player to aim much wider. Ball goes out. So point Foxborough 17-5. Sam Briggs is going out. I think it's Kristen Fusco coming in, play back line. Brittany Stopa at the serve line. Good serve, nice and deep. Yep, deep set for KP. They could only bump that over. Good set here. Jess Whitney with a good swing at it. That's a little closer to the line, but it's dinked over because of the blockers at the line. Rachel Dutra with a nice swing at that one, but saved by KP. I imagine that the more the ball keeps coming back over to you, the more you're inclined to want to take a harder swing at it. And it looks like that would happen on that play there with the KP player. She had that determined look in her face. I'm going to kill that ball. And kill it she did. Danielle Tacey with the serve. Hits the light, but it stays in. Couldn't quite dink it over. Got called with the carry, but even so, it was short of the net. So point Foxborough at 19-5. Let's take another look at that there. That was kind of an awkward play. Yeah, you can see that she kind of carried that ball a little.
Pick it up a little bit.
Yep. Well, it was a little short. What else are you going to do?
Yep. Got to try and get it over.
That's it. See if they let you get away with it. All right, what do we got going here? Okay, Danielle Tacey's out. Amanda Martin is in. She's got the serve line. Hannah Pierce Kristen Fusco on the back line, Michelle Cameron, Rachel Dutra, and Jess Whitney in the front. Not sure what our confusion is here, but I suspect that there were a lot of substitutions there.
Yeah, maybe checking something with the rotation here.
Yeah, I think they want to make sure everybody's in the right spot.
Yeah.
I think Amanda Martin came in for Danielle Tacey, who was serving, so that would put her serving. That's probably what looked awkward to them.
Yeah.
Let's see if they move anybody.
And Foxborough's really run away with this game.
Oh, yes.
The first three were a little bit closer, but this fourth one, Foxborough really.
Yeah, they kind of collected themselves and got very determined.
Right.
Oh, it looks like they changed who subbed in for who. Okay. So Hannah Pierce ends up being the server now. Fine.
Yep. Out of rotation.
That's it. It happened so quickly, I didn't see who came in for who, so whatever they need. Hopefully they now have it squared away. I don't like to have this much time in the break in there. It's not good. Got good momentum going. Let's go. Nope, now the officials have to confer because he's still not sure.
KP coach is looking like something's not right. Foxborough's end here.
Yeah, well, we've got a break in the action. We'll see. I think we have a volley coming up to look at. That was a nice kill by Michelle Cameron on that ball that floated to the top of the net.
Yep.
It was a nice kill. Michelle plays very well. She's a Hockomock All-Star last season. And playing just as well this year. So it's very nice to see. A lot of responsibility when you're the setter.
Yes, yes.
And she fills that well, and she has good athleticism. So even at the net, she's able to get up high enough to make those points count. Yeah. So now the officials are explaining to KP. Certainly, they couldn't have been thinking that we were trying to sneak a rotation to get a particular server in. I don't know how you could. Somehow we've lost the serve, but we won the last point. So here's a replay on a prior point. Dig deep that landed right on the line that got called in. We were fortunate because we didn't catch much of that. It was just the bump that went back over. Okay, so we have KP's jump server with the serve. I'm not entirely certain how they ended up with the serve. Nobody gave an explanation.
Happened there.
And all of the waiting didn't do her any good either because she serves it into the net.
So it'll go right back over to Foxborough.
So right back over to Foxborough, 19-6. All right. And now they're able to sub out. I think they called an illegal substitution.
Yeah.
Because now they're able to sub out Danielle Tacey, and Amanda Martin comes in. She hits the serve line, and away we go. Serve was just a little wide. Point KP, 19-7. Serve goes over to them.
And KP's going to need to do something right here if they want to try and
I suspect
get their way back into this.
Yep. I suspect they've got to make a little mini run here if they're going to get competitive. Kristen Fusco with a nice bump there. Set. Jess Whitney gets a set that was actually got a little deep and a little low, and she made the most of that. Kind of got that top spin going, and the point scores. So 20-7 Foxborough. All right, Sam Briggs rotates back in to play front line. Kristen Fusco goes out, and Jess Whitney with a serve. Very deep serve. Set a little low and a little deep for KP. That's really one of their problems that they had today. Yeah, it's not getting those sets close enough to the net and not high enough.
You can probably look at that in practice.
Yeah,
try and work on that,
I suspect they will. Here's another replay. Yeah. Oh, we actually had we had Rachel Dutra giving a fake on a kill, like the ball was coming to her, and then Jess Whitney came up from deeper to come get that. That's fun to see.
Yeah.
Watching the college game, I've always admired when they set that up, or when the set goes to far side from near side,
right,
and then you get somebody over there with a kill. Fun to watch.
Back set.
But that tells you how far Foxborough has come.
Right.
Because they're now doing that. They're thinking about those technical aspects of the game, and that's fun to watch. All right, Foxborough with the serve. Effective short serve. Ooh, they just get that to crawl over. Yep. We got the benefit of the ball being close to the net, and then we got the bad side of the ball being close to the net there. So 22-8 is our score. KP gets the serve. We'll take another look at that ball. It just lingered right at the top of that net too many times. The benefit and the downside. That serve by KP is short of the net. 23-8 Foxborough. 2 points to close this game and match out. And this is the kind of game Foxborough needed.
Yep.
They needed to assert themselves, say, we're the better team, and this is how we're going to do it, and that's what they've done.
And they've looked very strong in this fourth game here.
Yep, because even when the ball was helter-skelter, they were making good saves on it and getting composure back. Jen Weiskerger with the serve. KP gets a nice set, but we get the dig at the back line. We're a little deep without that set there, but ball's alive.
KP looking like they're just not communicating out there anymore.
And they didn't have anybody up there to set that ball. It was a good bump from the back line, but nobody set it. So now we have match point. Rachel Dutra with the serve. Rather deep with that serve. It was hit hard. Let's say that.
Aiming for the scoreboard.
I guess. We got a substitution now. Ali Smiley's coming in for Amanda Martin. Freshman seeing her first time on the floor with varsity, I believe. Nice deep serve, good bump. Brittany Stoper with the opportunity to kill, and the win. So, Foxborough successfully closes that game out, 25-9, taking the match 3 games to 1. That was a good performance by them. It's a game it's a match they take another look at that last point here. Congratulations going on. But Foxborough, it's a match they should win.
Yes.
They're the better team right now. But KP did a nice job. They kept it competitive. Here's a replay of that last point. KP's serve went deep, got bumped, got another bump for a set, and then Brittany Stoper from pretty deep makes a nice swat at it, but picks the right spot on the floor. Really not set where she could get a stronger kill. But that's a nice win for Foxborough. Like I said, it's a match where they should win.
Yep.
And they served better today. We had a couple of times in both of the, I guess, the first 2 games where we did not serve well.
Yep.
But even the third game that we lost, that was not a problem with the serves. That was more KP did some really good things.
Yep. Foxborough just couldn't.
Yes, we didn't do enough good things, and the ball just didn't land where we needed it to. Right. So, KP deserved to win that. But that's a good performance by Foxborough. They needed the win. They've had a couple of tough matches against very good teams, and they did a nice job there.
Yep. They looked well under pressure when it was, kind of scrambling around. They were able to pull it off a few times, so that's very encouraging.
And that's the nice progression of the team to this year. Last year, they would have a point in the game where, particularly around the 18, 19 point area, where they would kind of lose their composure, and they end up losing a game they could otherwise win. So it's nice progression for the team, and nice to see. Again, thank you to Foxborough Cable Access for bringing this coverage tonight. I've had a great time. This is Mark Stoper with Bethany Fuller, and good night, everybody. Thank you.
Good night.